Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the latest film interviews, features, and recommendations on the movies that matter. Hello, Sumukhi. Good to see you. We've been trying to do this for a while. I finally have you.
Yes, I finally have myself here too. I'm so glad. I was trying really hard to I'm like, no, lockdown nahi hoga. I'm sure we can meet in person. And I'm like, damn it, it's not happening. Okay, let's just do this, I guess.
It's hard. But just a couple of minutes ago, you were telling me, and I want to pick up on that. You said you were having a little bit of internet trouble, and my heart kind of, I sort of froze because that's the worst thing that can happen at this time, right?
Yesterday I got a message from Manish, who plays Nikhil in Pushpavalli. He messaged me saying, "Hey, listen, there's a rumor that April 1st to April 15th, there's not going to be any internet." I was like, "What?" And then half an hour later, he's like, "Don't worry." I was confused. I'm like, "What kind of confusion is this?" Manish, what are you doing?
That is literally worst case, like the worst thing ever, right?
Yeah, and in my head, I was like, okay, so cool. So I'm going to read all the books in my house. I'm going to clean it twice a day. Great. I'm sorted. I was mentally preparing myself.
But what have the last few days been like? I mean, especially for someone who is usually so busy and usually on the move and constantly kind of creating content.
Yeah.
What have the last few days been like?
The good thing is the first 1 week. I mean, first of all, lockdown is of course not the good thing, but in the whole thing, Pushpavalli's marketing has been happening, and I've been strangely very aggressive about it. I'm like, no, I will not one more time take that comment of what an underrated show. I'm like, agar acha laga to underrated kyun hai?
Kyun hai? Correct.
Yeah, from our end, we were like, we will do as much as we can. So I think the first 1 week was pretty much like, I don't care what is happening. We just got to keep doing it. But the last week when everything got done is when like one whole day of that one day when you relive everything. You're like, hi, I got bullied in school, breakup ho gaya mera, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh my God, this is just a spiral. And then next day I did a very Jawaharlal Nehru type of thing that I'm going to be like, I'm going to have a routine. So I wake up at 9 o'clock, I work out, and then I took jhadu pocha, then I do bartan, then I'll sit and read a book. It's been working for 2 days. God knows 7 days later who I'll kill. I don't know.
But do you live alone?
I do live alone, yeah.
Is that hard when you're, this scenario when you're alone?
Yeah, it wasn't, honestly. First 2 days I was a little peaceful.
Right.
But I think my anxiety is more that my parents also are alone in Nagpur, so that bothers me a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, they're alone. But then, like for the past, that day of tears when everything, the spiral day.
Correct.
That day also, it's almost like a well-written scene because that day started with people calling and saying, "Tum to akele rehti ho, ab kya karogi?"
Correct.
I don't know. Should I be
scared? Right.
Which is exactly what happened. I'm like, oh my God, mera pati hota to ye nahi hota. And my mom is my voice of reason in my head. No. So I was calling my mom and I was like, how are you? And she's like, I'm fine. I have a husband. What about you? I'm like, oh my God.
One more way to remind you should be married, right?
Yeah, because we were doing like a group call. Okay, and my mom is full savage. So we were doing a family group call. And I have a niece and we were all like, oh my God, our niece is so cute. My mom is like, yeah. I said, is everybody here? She's like, yeah, everybody's here. Me and my husband, your brothers and their wife, and you. It hurts me.
We've all been there. The reason, of course, we're doing this chat, and the reason I've been pursuing you to sit down with me is because I stumbled onto Pushpavalli. So I will say the good in my case that came out of this scenario was that I hadn't seen Pushpavalli. I'm just going to admit it. I was living under a rock. Of course, it came out in December 2017, the first season on Amazon Prime Video. I'd heard about it. You won an award at an event that we were sort of curating, and I hadn't seen the show. And then season 2 dropped, and the ads started popping up, and I said, okay, let's give this a shot, and I did. And I'm going to say I binge watched entire season 1 the first night in like 4 hours the first night, and then the next morning I binge watched all of season 2. I just fell in love with the show. It's such an incredible show, so sharply written, so beautifully performed. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. The fact that you binged it in 2 days, and not even like in a span, it's just brilliant. Thank you so much.
Loved it. I completely enjoyed it. You know what I really loved was, I mean, it's very funny, but it's also not afraid to go to the dark places. And it really does. It gets bleak. There are moments. It cuts so close to the bone sometimes that I'm so proud of you that you're not shy and not scared of visiting those dark places. And I think that tone that you managed to hit where it's funny, but it's also really dark, and you're laughing, but you're also asking yourself, should I be laughing here? And it's so good. So good.
Nice.
So I want
Nice.
to ask you. I was sort of googling a little bit, and it says on the internet that the show is inspired from your life and from episodes in your life, or it is
Yeah.
a little bit autobiographical. And and it's a. I'm almost wondering if it's a rude question to ask what bits, because for those that like me hadn't watched the show before, what it is about it's about a woman, a young girl actually, who moves
Yeah.
cities to be closer to this man that she's got a crush on, and she sort of
Yeah.
becomes obsessed with him, and she begins to stalk him, and she makes some very unwise decisions. So
Yeah.
so so I'm just jumping in straight there. What part of this is autobiographical?
I've very strangely never openly answered this, and I feel like I was waiting for my right moment. Well, the lot of the operational bits are very similar. Like I did food science,
Right.
and I worked at a library,
Library, correct.
and these bits are a lot from what I did. It's also because these are environments I haven't seen in a show.
Right.
And we as writers were all like,
Correct.
no, these are interesting thoughts to like put. Like I'm like, no, I like food science. Although my writers are like, what is there about food science? I'm like,
Correct.
no, I want to put this. It's
But you're right.
nerdy, but it's
It gives a new world. It gives us a new. We're looking at equipment, and we're looking at his site, and we're like, this is not stuff that we've seen before. So I get your point.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I felt like it's a new environment. I would like to see. I also see how I watch content, because I don't watch a lot of content, and I
Right.
have not grown up watching content. But one thing I know is something new excites me. I'm
Sure.
like, oh, okay. Like Breaking Bad, the biggest thing that excited me was that I'm like, you a nerd like thing about making meth wrong, but also you've made it so approachable for me. I feel like I can also do this. I won't. Public disclaimer, but you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
that of course is there. But also, yes, I did move cities for a boy. Like I think a lot of girls end up doing at the
Sure.
age of 20, 21, which is not something I realized when we were writing. I thought it was only me. Where I was
Right.
like, yeah, I moved. I tried to pursue him. The only difference being that I think I came clean, and both of us were in sort of a relationship faster than Pushpavalli. But with Pushpavalli, I have taken the liberty of making her a naive
Right.
person who doesn't have the sexual maturity that
Yeah.
maybe I would have had. The emotional maturity that both of us didn't have at the age of 20, 21.
Right.
She is the worst. Imagine a person with lack of emotional maturity, plus a single mother, plus body image issues, plus no sexual experience. It's a catastrophe waiting to happen.
Right.
Like it's pretty much that. So I know that the bit of me moving for a boy is true. I also met the boy at a food conference, which is also true.
Okay.
Because there was when we went from our college to this food conference, which happened in Mysore. So I met him there. So like the whole thing sort of like, again, the whole making of jam. We used to sell jam and syrups in our college where I used to
Okay.
study. So the whole scene didn't happen there, but the whole thing of bet, the 750 rupees for full talk time,
Right. Right.
that happened. That
Oh,
happened.
wow.
I
Okay.
did get his number like that, and we
Okay.
ended up started texting, and the girl who I got the number for didn't text
But
him.
when does the maturity come, and when does the wisdom come to be able to take that material, to mine within yourself what some bits I would imagine are dark,
Yeah.
and sort of be able to laugh at it, and be able to watch others laugh at it.
I feel like we're stuck in this whole circle of what is right and what is wrong of
Yeah.
portrayal, which I
Yeah.
understand. I buy it, and I'm talking from a very simple creator's point of view who has watched Dekh Bhai Dekh, and that's the content I have been part of.
Right.
Like not like English shows. Friends came to me when I was in college. Like that was
Okay.
my first introduction. So
Okay.
I feel like we get stuck in the whole portrayal of this is the right thing to portray, this is the wrong thing to portray.
Correct.
Especially when it comes to female-centric content, we're particular about no, women should be either Sati Savitri or a
Right.
vamp. She
Right.
can never be both. A Sati Savitri can never have dark thoughts. A vamp
Correct.
cannot have a redeeming moments.
Correct.
Which is off, don't you think? Like even
It's completely wrong. That's not what real people are like. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, keeping genders aside, any
Yeah.
man or woman is going through these dark places, and more than dark, it's a very honest thought. Like,
Yeah.
which is when for me and another writer of ours called Sumaira, she's also a stand-up comic. Again, both of us, for us, morbidity or sadness brings such laughter that even the writer's room is very like, why are you guys laughing? Like when
Right.
Pushpavalli gets beaten up, you should see how Sumaira and I we laugh like crazy. We're like, isko to padni chahiye. Do
Wow.
char laughs aur maro isko. And I
Correct.
know Naveen and Aisha are very like, what is going on? Why are both of you like this?
Right.
But it's also because both of us sort of get a little bit of kick out of like
Right.
sadness and morbidity. So
Yes.
I think I don't know what is the right time for maturity, but the moment you understand that something is taking a beating of your self-worth and insecurity, then you
Right.
should stop doing that.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
clearly not like for me, that was my wake up call. When I'm like, what am I doing? I am capable of so much more, and I'm stuck in this little cycle. Just get
Right.
out of it. Come on. So
Right.
I think, yeah, that's that.
The other thing I love about the show are the characters that you've created. These are such incredible characters. Of course, Pankaj is the scene stealer, and he is the
Yeah.
the star. But for me, I'm going to say Vasu, the landlady, is my absolute favorite. I mean, nothing comes close to her. She's so good. Also the actor that plays your mom, she's so funny.
Yeah.
Constantly yammering away in Tamil. I mean, sort of saying these sayings and these allegories which kind of make
Yeah.
no sense. Were these also rooted in people that you knew?
Vasu, not so much. Honestly, Vasu, when we wrote her, Naveen and I Naveen has this landlady character, and I had a landlady character.
Okay.
And how we writing scenes, at least Naveen and I, is we improvise the scene because we
Right.
love characters. So we
Yeah.
play the character, each one of us, and see which is the best joke, and we put it. So
Right.
the initial landlady was a lot based on Naveen's landlady, who was a little more sober. She
Uh-huh.
had jokes, but she was a little more like very low energy, passive aggressive.
Mm.
And then we had locked a actor also, and I remember I used to listen to Shraddha's our radio show called Mad Mornings in Bangalore
Uh-huh.
when I was going to my food lab in my scooter.
Right.
And I used to find her very funny. So I didn't know her. I found her number from somewhere. And I called her. I'm like, listen, do you mind sending like a small audition tape?
Correct.
And she was in Pondicherry at that time. She somehow put together and she improvised the Bamsandra bit. Oh, you
Okay.
have a suggestions and put in my Bamsandra.
Yeah.
The moment that came in, Debbie and I like, no, we have to take her. It doesn't
Right.
matter. And which has happened a lot with us writers is that after the actors come on board, we as writers actually sort of write it around that person's
Around them,
voice.
lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it doesn't seem like it's a fake line coming out of their mouth.
Right.
Like it
Right.
seems like this is how they talk
How
in
they
life.
talk. Right. Right.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like it's real. It's improv. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. And so season 1 was also a good amount of Vasu, riffing off and giving us jokes.
Right.
Season 2, we got very like, no, we got to make sure that we give her as many jokes. So season 2, it was almost like a competition when I used to watch her shoot, and she's like, I don't think I can get an extra joke out of this. I'm like, yes, I got it. I got a full scene. She didn't have to tag it, but like that was Vasu. And the mom. Okay, so the mom savage is a little bit my mom.
Okay.
My mom is that savage, but and the whole quote thing, my mom does that to me. Where she'll call me up and she'll give me a quote. I'm like, what am I listening to?
I love
Why
how
am I
you go
listening to this?
meaning.
Which really happens. My mom, this morning, she's like, so I was telling her, oh, I'm very worried. What if I get sick? So my mom has this quote called, Pada Pada Ragam Moola Moola Vyadi. My mom just said it and that's it. I'm like, meaning, Mama, who is going to tell me the meaning? And then she's like, you have to keep singing, then only you will understand raga. But if you keep thinking you're sick, of course you're going to get sick. What is logic?
I love that you have people around you that sort of inspire these characters. Yeah.
But like the Pushpavalli's mom is way more savage because she's a single mother. She has no time for bullshit. So when her daughter's all, oh my God, I'm self-pitying, she's very like, Baba, chalo, we don't have time for this. Get married and get out of my face. I don't have time for this shit. So like that way, the mom is a little more savage in terms because she's single. Mama, that's why.
Right. Are you discovering that a lot of people who perhaps hadn't watched the first season, like me, have now in this period when we're in lockdown and we're in self-isolation, have kind of discovered it after season 2 came out? I mean, do you find is that happening a lot? Or was I literally the last person on this planet?
No. Actually, it'd be very cool of me to be like, oh no, everybody has watched it. No, I feel like season 2, that way, I think we had also put in more effort in terms of writing and characterization and the whole inclusion of Vidyut sort of,
Who's such a
made
lovely
it very,
character. I have to say, it was so nice to not make him, I don't want to give away, I don't want to spoil it, but I like that he's a nice guy and still he's gonna lose here.
Exactly. Right. He's as Debbie mentioned once. He's the Ajay Devgan of Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam.
Correct.
But like Ajay Devgan jeet gaya tha usme.
Correct. You're rooting for him. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think Vidyut sort of brought the whole, like it was such a twisted universe that Vidyut is the grounding force of the whole thing. And I think that sort of got people. A lot of people watched season 2, then went to season 1, and then watched season 2 again.
Right.
Which was a great compliment for us. Where I'm like, okay, so we have rewatch value. That is good.
Correct. As
So
long as
yeah,
as long as you're discovering it, yeah.
yeah.
I want to ask you, how do you feel? How can comedy, in your opinion, sort of, um, you know, save us from these sort of cynical dark times, or at least kind of, save us from getting into a funk? Do you believe? Because I see a lot of you are doing stuff on Instagram, doing,
Yeah.
creating little bits to keep people occupied, which I feel like is a really big service, and thank you for that. To kind of, keep it going and to entertain us while it can get kind of gloomy. So do you you know what? I guess the question I'm asking is, what larger role do you believe that comedy can play in times like this?
Let me let me put it like this: the fact that as comics, we are also depending on comedy to save
Right.
our 21 days. I mean, a big reason why we are also constantly on Instagram and doing content is because we are also like, oh my God, are we going to lose ourselves? So comedy for us also is like sort of a way to make sure that we keep doing what we're doing, we keep having fun. And
Yeah.
if it is helping us, then obviously it's going to help a viewer. And comedy in whatever form it is, if it's like a Pushpavalli, which is thoda butt clench comedy, that's what I'd like to
Right.
call it,
Right.
or it's like a out and out ha ha ha, like a laughter riot comedy, or even like a more twisted, like an Afsos, which was a little bit twisted and a little bit
Right.
like, yeah, on a different space. Comedy will take you through because it's almost like sometimes you're laughing at the joke and you're also laughing at someone else's sadness. At least I
Correct.
laugh a lot at someone else's sadness. It's a little morbid, I'm sorry, but it's
Right.
the truth.
Right.
So if we are depending on it, then the audience will, of course, depend on it, and
Okay.
rightfully so.
Are there things that you've been able to do that you had been putting off for a while, and now you just suddenly find that I have the time to tick these things off my list that I had always wanted to do? I mean, have you been able to sort of use this time in that way as well?
I think the only thing now, this morning I was talking to one of my friends and I was telling her that Eto, I've gotten back to reading,
Right.
which I think sort of took a back seat, like whatever kind of reading, and that of
Yeah.
course is happening. But apart from that, I feel like, in my whole thing of, oh, I'll make shows and I'll do this. I don't have a lot of fun on Instagram, like do characters, which I love.
Right.
So I'm trying to get back to that, like use this
Okay.
21 days, do like smaller videos and
Correct.
like fun stuff, which I used to do for myself.
Right.
I think in the whole show writing thing, I've sort of forgotten about that.
Uh,
And I think, yes, these 2 weeks are going to me getting back to the whole thing of, just having fun and not
right.
having an agenda.
Right.
So, yeah.
But how many books are on your bedside table at this moment? How many are you kind of going through? What have you been reading? Give us a sense of what's going on in terms of the reading.
So whenever I go through this rule of 2 rom-com books, which is
Okay.
full trash, okay, which is very like, the junk. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat junk. And the
Right.
one book which is really helping me is I'm reading a book called How to Write a TV Sitcom, a comedy TV
Okay.
sitcom.
Okay.
And you know what is essentially Pushpavalli was written in 2007, 17, 18.
Okay.
So it's been a year since I wrote a show. And
Right.
I'm right now I'm developing 3 other scripts.
Right.
So this book is literally giving me the revision of, oh no, you have forgotten this. What about this? So I think that book is doing its purpose of like revising me into the whole world of writing. Because this year again, I want to sell another show. I want some
Right.
network to pick up one more show. So
Right.
I think that is that is the reading that I'm doing mainly. But apart
Sure.
from that, I'm also doing rom-coms with like cute boys and cute girls, and everybody's just cute. That's great.
What are you watching? What are you binging on? Is there anything you've been watching specifically?
I'm watching old Hindi movies because I think
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm watching Chupke Chupke, Golmaal,
Nice.
Parichai. I feel like I'm going through I'm missing home. Maybe that's why, because
Yeah.
Nagpur was a lot to do with those movies.
Right.
So I'm watching Khatta Meeta, all of that. I was like, no, I want to go through that. And
Sure.
also something I realized, which is what I like in Pushpavalli also, is that the romance then was so sweet.
It was.
It
It
was
is actually quite lovely. Yeah.
I love, especially like Paricha I was watching. I'm like, what is her name? Jaya Badri just who held on to Jitendra's hand, and I'm like, oh my God, they know.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I'm holding a guy's hand. Also, he's not understanding.
Correct. Those times had
just-
a different. Yeah. It just
Yeah.
felt like it was easier to kind of communicate. It was easier to kind of get the
Yes.
point across. Yeah.
Yeah, I truly do miss that. Like I was watching it, I'm like, yeah, romance aisa hona chahiye, yaar, bilkul,
Correct.
definitely. So yeah, that's what I'm watching.
I want to ask you. Is there going to be I'm just going to ask it directly. Is there going to be Pushpavalli season 3? Do you know yet? And if there is, have you begun to think on where you'd like to take her?
Answering,
Because
I
it's a
don't
big
know.
cliffhanger. I'm not giving away. It's you leave us with a big cliffhanger.
I don't know if there is a 3. I haven't been told yet. But as writers, ek to when we're writing season 2 only, we know sort of where season 3 is headed.
Correct.
There's of course there. But there's one more thing that Sumaira and I do is that whenever, even last season we did this, season 1, well, at that time, I didn't even know the concept of season 2. That's how alien I was to content creation. So I was very like, if this story moved ahead, Sumaira and I end up sitting and writing scenes just for fun. We're like, we could, like the whole mole scene, which is there in season 2, we had thought about it long back then. And the whole thing of like some other scene we wanted to do, we thought about it long back.
So
like
you dig them back and bring them into right.
Yeah, so we start talking about like, this person will do this, that, almost like we're gossiping about these characters.
Right.
So I think that's the space we're in right now, where Sumaira and I every day just gossip. We're like, what will this character do? I feel like this character will do this. I think we should make Pankaj talk to someone or something. Like that's the space we're in. I know where I want to take her in 3.
Right.
But do I know it like full-fledged? Of course not. You know how screenplay is. So that's going to take some time, yeah.
Okay.
But no, we don't know if there is a 3. We just, in our heads, are gossiping about the characters.
I feel like it's a given. I mean, it's just so popular, and these are such wonderful characters. I mean, they'd have to renew it, I feel like. But finally, I want to ask you, Sumukhi, what is the first thing you know that you want to do or that you're going to do when life sort of normalizes? When we go back to the routine that we were used to, when this passes, when lockdown's done and where perhaps can go out and what are you most looking forward to doing?
Oh, live shows. I'm waiting to do live shows. I miss this 1 week I've always thought that I love acting more than stand-up. But I think this 1 week has made me realize, oh my God, I miss the stage. I need some stage time. So एक तो definitely like hit live shows like nobody's business. Okay. And 2, I think the moment it's done, I'm going to get back to shoot mode. Like I want to shoot some stuff because I miss the whole shoot vibe, the camera and all of that also. So these 2 things for sure. And third, I'll go visit my parents because I think my mom really needs to see me so that she can go savage on my face just for that.
Sounds lovely. Can't wait to see what you do with Pushpavalli going ahead. I feel like this is a character that now I'm so invested in. I absolutely want to know what she's going to do next. And I feel like I'm speaking for a lot of fans. But many congratulations. I think you've really cracked something that's lovely, and I think it speaks to a lot of people because I think one can relate to, I think one can relate to the insecurities that she has, and still wanting to, trying to do the right thing and but also wanting to be happy. I think there's so much in that character and what she does that anyone who's even in a different situation can relate to. That I want to see what happens next with her.
Which is also like something I like doing to my shows. I don't know how to write fancy shows, but I know that if there is a string of emotion, a negative emotion that you feel, I like to glorify that. I know that much. Like even the current shows I'm working on, I'm glorifying jealousy, I'm glorifying pride, I'm glorifying hypocrisy.
Correct.
I feel like I have a thing of like romanticizing a negative feeling.
Right. Where it comes out beautifully. Cannot wait to see what happens with that. But also I'm looking forward to sort of the next time we meet in person, face to face, and technology is just this much useful. Next time face to face. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And looking forward to chatting with you in person next.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.